My name's Billy Boyle. I'm a co-founder of Alstone Nanotech, and we make microchip gas sensors. The people that started the company, myself and two other guys, we were all electronic engineers by training. So we knew about the technology component of things, but not necessarily the design element and how to connect with users. So I would say we didn't know a lot. We needed training. We were looking for investment, and part of the challenge we had was how to try and articulate a nanotech product to an investor community. So we were at the stage of doing research, trying to transition to a spin-out. Initially, we were looking at visualization techniques. You know, a chip is tiny. When you look at it, it's deeply unimpressive, nothing really to look at. So we looked at 3D animation techniques, so explaining the principle of operation, how we can represent that to investors, and also get across the differentiation of our product compared to the other sensors that are out there. So we had designers working on simple postcards that showed, how our chip could be used in real-world applications, things like, detection of toxic gases and explosives at airports, through to detecting disease on breath by looking at chemicals. So there was explanation of the technology and explanation of the application and the implication of the technology. I think one of the things that we picked up quite early and has been embedded quite deeply is the idea of being able to prototype to test functionality and validate a lot of the assumptions that we have about what customers are particularly interested in. So I think being able to do that, gets us to market a lot faster and make sure that we get there with something which is genuinely valuable to the customer base we're trying to address. So we have examples of systems here where this worked. It did what it literally says on the can. It looks like a rough prototype to customers and also when we're out speaking to investors. So by looking at industrial design, we're able to take essentially the same core system but turn it into this device. It's called the Tourist, which looks a lot more product ready. And this was valuable when we were talking to early customers and getting them to evaluate the technology. Because we were engineers, embedding those types of principles quite early has been valuable for what the company has gone on to do. So when we build products now, we do care about good industrial design, the interface, how information is presented to users, and not think only the technology is a thing of importance. Technology is one component within the mix, but there's everything around it that actually makes someone want to buy it and creates value. Yeah, so right now we have a team of 40 people here in Cambridge. We've raised about $12 million of investments. We won a $4 million contract from US Department of Defense. And we have a very successful relationship with Celix Galileo, who embed our chip into their products. And again, I think a lot of those things of being able to effectively communicate with the investor community and also with customers who are trying to evaluate whether or not our chip will do something useful for them. Initially, our idea of design was quite narrow, and I think it's now quite broad. I was once talking to someone, and they were talking about the benefit of design. It's like, well, show me the beautiful product. It's not about that. The impact of design is on your income statement and your balance sheet. That's where you should look, and I think that's what, certainly what we learned. It's broad-ranging impact on the company.